Castellum Inc. is one of the stocks that we've been covering for the past few months, and today it made a big move, about 8% to continue its overall trend. Now, what we've been tracking with Castellum is this move potentially from about a dollar, or yeah, right around 97 cents, up into that $1.70 range. It actually was able to make a pretty big portion of it over the last 3 days, up about, what is that, 39% from this level here. Now, we traded it on Friday. We were able to make a profit there of over 10%. And then today, we actually weren't in any short-term positions on CTM, but we still have our long-term positions that we've been holding, and since we've been covering it since before some of these spikes, which, by the way, someone commented the other day and they said, Will, don't you see that pump with CTM? Like, it's obviously just going to sell back down. But the issue with CTM is that, or maybe it's not an issue at all, this was only like 150 million in market cap. So again, there is risk. It's, just around 100 million, but this was just a $150 million increase in its market cap. It wasn't a big pump. I mean, that's quite small compared to most companies that are in this range. So why are they moving? What's pushing them today? Let's take a look. So you have their price up to $1.40 today. At one point there, just for a second, we saw it surge above that. Looks like $1.42 maybe, or it's holding right at $1.40. And what we saw with CTM was that they've paid down some of their debt recently. So they didn't have a lot of debt to start. But if you look at this, they were at about total assets increasing quarter over quarter. If you go year over year, we do see that increase. But quarter over quarter, total assets were at 41 million with total liabilities at 15 million. But you might say, well, that's not too crazy. But remember, they're just a $100 million company. So $40 million in assets, and their total liabilities just recently shrunk down, according to recent reports that they released on their website, to just 5 million. So they paid down about $10 million. Now, year over year, cash and assets, they're up about 490%. So it's more of a value play with CTM. If you look at their company's institutional holdings, though, this is where people say, okay, well, you got the financials, they're $50 million a year company. They're only valued at 100 million. Now, I don't know what they're at now. What was their valuation now that they made this move? 116 million. And we know for the longest time they were holding at 80 million. So they just finally broke above 100, and they're at $160 million market cap. And you might say, Will, it's such a small stock. You're covering a penny stock, Will. Like I said, I'm not a hollow-eyed investor. I don't ever share with you guys pumps. This stock, I mean, maybe it's changed. Let's see. Is there any news on this stock? Let's take a look. News. The last news article was when they had that's an automated article from NASDAQ right here. Then they had CTM price and charts. They had the announcement of paying down their debts. But other than that, I don't see any of these articles that are coming out. Do you guys see any articles here that are like, buy now before it's too late? All right, here's one actually that's a little bit weird. It says, why Castellum is plunging in 2025. And they're expecting it to just go down. Okay, Yahoo Finance. We saw your fake article a couple months ago about how Supermicro Computer was no longer partnered with NVIDIA, only to find that in their earnings call, they said that one of their best customers was Supermicro Computer, and they loved that collaboration. So yeah, Yahoo Finance, you can kick it. When we go to the news, we're always going usually directly to the source. And that's why Yahoo Finance is great for real-time prices. They got good prices. So not a knock on them. They got good prices, the indicators, everything else, not too bad. But when it comes down to the value of going to those articles that are not validated, we don't spend time on it. So directly to the source is where we go. So let's go ahead and search it. Castellum stock. Let's see, we searched the actual company name, so they should come up. There we go. And that is not the right company. So we'll search again, Castellum. There we go, CastellumUS.com. They are a cybersecurity company that specializes in processing large amounts of data for the US government. They focus on software development, systems engineering, even 5G technologies, but mostly in their model-based systems engineering. This is new, model-based systems engineering and project management. And some of their recent partnerships include the $103 million contract just in February with Naval Air Systems. So it's a 5-year, $103 million contract. They also got some smaller contracts, $3.5 million here, $3.8 million there, and they're specializing in cybersecurity. So if you look at the details of it, came from most likely their Oasis Plus IDIQ contract that gives them more on-demand contracts for the government. And they work primarily with the US government, so that's their main customer. Now, when it comes to their overview of their company, $100 million and everything else, they're very old school. I don't see anything on their site that's like, we are the most innovative company in the world now. We're the fastest growing now. Come check us out. Like, I haven't, it feels like we're in like the early 2010s and they like set up their website and but their financials have been good. And that's really what got our attention, right? These defense contracts that are related to the US government's emphasis on their cybersecurity, and then they're raising capital, and some people say that's not good, but they're a smaller company and they have consistent cash flows with little to no debt. But then you see this overextension. So now people are saying, well, is it overextended? Could it continue to run? It's possible. It's right at the resistance of this previous level at $1.38. So that is a level at which we could see some resistance play into CTM. One of the things we were talking about this morning and why I didn't trade it short term was right here this morning. It started off green and then it sold off, and it was looking like maybe it'd have momentum, but overall it was just kind of starting like Then we started to see that rally kick in later here into about, it was 9 a.m. when it really started to push up Pacific time. So we started our Stockmates live session there at 6:30 a.m. this morning right here. And it was kind of consolidating, kind of just moving. And we see that big burst of 7 or 8%, which is great for the long-term investors. The short-term investors, some of them caught it, but it was hyper bullish trend because it was already at this resistance and it continued this level. So now if it's going to make that run up into this $1.70 range, it's possible that now is the time. I think we got some sleeper accumulation. You see, one of the things that happens is if you start to see the volume is very high and the price goes up, okay, and then the price, so that's something that happens. The price goes down and the volume is still very high. That's still some manipulation. But when we see the volume going up, the price going up, but the volume still staying low, usually is a true accumulation. It means that there is not manipulation happening and they're truly accumulating the stock. And so the volume being just a little bit above average there with a little more attention lately, I'm not raising any red flags that we're about to see some massive drop. I mean, based on the patterns of what normally happens with volume, I would imagine that we could potentially see it consolidate, have a slight pullback potentially, but this move up into this $1.70 range is the next target. Now it's hyper bullish. I understand that. The RSI, the MACD look overbought, but when it comes down to the type of capital, the amount of capital that's required to move this stock, it's very, very small. It's a very small amount of capital. You could go invest $1 million and this stock would move significantly. You all move the market, but when it comes to the biggest moves that happen from a lot of institutional investors, they could significantly, quite easily, drive it to this $1.70 price point. So that's why we got to be aware. We're going to watch it tomorrow morning, see how it has. If it does sell back down, the next level of previous resistance is right here around $1.25, which isn't that nice. See it up in these ranges. Now, if it's going to hold that hyper bullish trend, that $1.25 level, it's a pretty strong level to be watching to see if it holds. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys want to join us in our daily live trading tomorrow, we'd love to have you there. We're giving away this free trading plan on a coffee cup so you can keep your risk and your rules top of mind while you're drinking coffee and in our daily live trading. So if you ever want to watch me trade live, it's the second link in the description down below. Would love to see you there as soon as tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.